Hey, I think we're live everywhere. Hearing some feedback. Is that you, me? Do you have it pulled up anywhere?
Mm-mm.
Oh, here it is. Okay, this should have. Made it. Is that an echo that I heard or not?
I hear it.
Yeah, there's something going on. You're not hearing that?
Mm-mm. I also can't see it.
I'm gonna go this way. And we're gonna go.
Oh, yeah, we're live. There's 2 people watching.
And we're gonna. Okay. Can you talk a little bit?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Not very well. So that might be my fault.
What about now?
Yeah, there's some feedback.
I don't have any feedback.
I'm gonna mute you and see what happens. So if I mute you, I don't have any feedback. Then when I put yours on, I get feedback.
What about now?
Nope. It's
What about
mostly
now?
when. Yeah, no, it's good. No feedback.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Let's.
You were only
Okay,
on. We are not on it.
just you two?
Yeah.
Oh, it says we are. It says that got the checkbox.
Well, it don't matter. We can just record it, put it out live.
Yep, that's what we're gonna have to do, unfortunately.
That's what it is.
Got it set up. It's going, scheduled. Stream is already live. You can't edit the schedule. Well, oh, I wonder if we're not live in the group. Here we go. Let's try this. This is worth waiting just a bit. Never mind. It won't even let me go into the group. We're live. Oh.
We have 2 viewers. I wonder if it's Andy and me.
We're live on my realtor page, but I want this to be in the group. Mm-hmm.
Guess we're gonna have to figure this one out next time.
Nope. I'm almost there.
Look at you.
Connect streaming software.
Well, while he's working on this, I can introduce us a little bit.
Yeah, talk a little bit.
Okay, so first off, we're the Des Moines short-term rental group. If you have questions or you want to see some of our properties that we manage and some of us own, go ahead and check us out at DesMoinesSTR.com. We also have our email and phone number here in case you want to reach out and hey, have coffee, have a phone call, relax, or just brainstorm. Or if you're looking for someone managing your short-term rental, right, we're here to help. We network all of those 4 owners. Our investors, we all actually own Airbnbs as well as long-term rentals. So my name is Cole Chestnut. Been investing for over 5 years now, hard to believe. And I have some short-term rentals, some long-term rentals. I would say short-term and mid-term kind of mix anymore. But yeah. And then is Darson ready to do a little intro?
I will. Yeah, no, I'm good. Darson Grantham, co-founder along with Cole and 2 other guys for Des Moines short-term rentals. Started buying rentals in 2018 personally, and then in 2020 got fired from a job and started as a real estate agent, knowing what investors want and stuff. So as an agent, it was easy to pick out properties that clients would want to buy and helping them sell. And so I've grown that business, and now I'm kind of running with that business. And on the side here, the short-term rental business is getting in full swing. I do the marketing and the sales, kind of letting people know that the business is around and we can help agents and investors. Quite frankly, they need to know first, just know and understand short-term rentals so they can talk to their clients or their business partners about short-term rentals. But in general, helping them find, buy, sell short-term stuff or manage it. It's managing short-term rentals is come to be quite an interesting business. As we've grown up, as we've grown the short-term rental management business, I see single solo owners that you can do it by yourself with 1 or 2, maybe. If you value your time at all, you're making that amount, I guess you could say. But in the grand scheme of things, you can't scale that. So most investors would agree, as we've kind of had conversations with them.
Sweet. Okay, so today our goal is to talk a little bit of market. Where are we at? Where have we been? Where are we headed? Obviously, this is all analysis. Any of this could change by a law that comes into effect or something, this, that, or other. Not saying there is anything coming, right? But I think this is just a quick hour, 40 minutes of chatting, seeing what's out there, and whatnot. First, I want to start with, hey, we send a monthly newsletter or a monthly email to investors, just talking about what's going on, talking about this, that. And in that, we kind of send a templated market report that walks through some things. I just wanted to pull that up quick and just high level run through that. In a way, this is directly pulled from.
You're gonna have to zoom in, Cole.
Yeah, I can do that. Got that. Boom, 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 boom. So just kind of wanted to walk through and let Darson ask questions that, hey, well, this doesn't make sense. And then kind of I explain it or, hey, what does this mean to me? So in the future, when someone gets one of these or you get one of these, you can kind of say, hey, what does this actually mean versus 945 and 1260? But I think just some clarity around that helps and people get at least an understanding of what you're looking at. So I'm just gonna high level jump in. So active listings, right? They are listings that have been active on Airbnb or VRBO in a time. Now there's two sets here. There's, hey, these are active in the last 30 days, and then these are active in the last 365 days. So obviously in the last 30 days, we're down from September's last 30 days. So a month ago's last 30 days, we're down in listings. So listings are going down short term. However, in the long term in the last 365 days, there's a lot more listings up from a year ago, we'll call it, at this in the last 360 days. So, I mean, did you take your listing on or off? Like if you did it in the last 30 days, you're going to fall into both groups. But if you took it off or added something new in the last 365 days, right, you're in that bigger list. So this is all properties, all bedrooms, entire market, 10-mile radius. So something to think about as we're looking through that. The next one is important because it puts average daily rate and occupancy together, right? This is how hotels do it, is they call it RevPAR. It really takes your average daily rate times your occupancy, so that we can do true comparisons across properties. Hey, what's your 1-bedroom doing versus your 4-bedroom? What's this or that? Because hey, I could say I'm getting $400 a night, average daily rate, but my occupancy is 10%. However, I could be getting 200 and my occupancy is 80%. Well, my numbers are a heck of a lot better than your numbers, but your average daily rate sounded really good. But the total performance is a little different. So just something to think about it, and just, hey, where do you prepare, right? If you have a 2-bedroom, you can take what your occupancy was for the month and your average daily rate, and boom, you can see, hey, where am I at? Am I above average, below average, or right there? And tells you some performance metrics. Hey, should I be better or should it be worse? This one I really like, is probably one of my favorite ones, is the booking window. To me, it's telling you when people book to when they start their stay. So in the last 30 days, it's 14 days. So the average person books about two weeks before they're going to stay there. The last 365 days, it's 20 days. So knowing, and I've been in this quite a while, we're at last minute booking world versus in the summer, you are over 30 days. A lot of times people are booking out in a way. So just a number, but I think it means a lot in the way you price and the way you do some stuff. So these next two are some graphs. It's really putting booking window and book nights. I read this graph and I'm like, holy cow, look at how many peoples are booking less than 2 weeks. So 1 day Tuesdays, but there are still people booking 6 months out, 1 to 2 months out. However, it's just a heck of a lot less than if you look at my mouse, this little chunk right here. But I mean, look how many are last minute bookings coming in a day before. So that's something I look at. And then on the flip side is, well, how long are they staying, right? What's their length of stay? I mean, to me, the market is still staying 3 to 4 days. There are very, very few one-night stays. And I think Des Moines has actually very much limited that. There's not many guests that take one-night stay, or many properties that take one-night stays. A lot of people are very 2 nights minimum, which is driving some of this upward. But, I mean, there's still some 39-day stays, 29-day stays and whatnot. But, yeah, 3 to 4 on average. So, and then lastly, some just supply and demand. So total nights booked. Obviously your big months are June, July, and August. Here is October represented, but you look at October 2024 to October 2023, we have a lot more total nights booked. So tells me supply is up from a year ago, or sorry, demand for nights is up a year ago. However, you also look at the total listings is up too, right? So you got to do some math and go weed into it a little deeper. The question becomes, did supply go more than demand, or did demand outpace supply? And then where are those demand and supply gaps at? Is it 1s bedrooms, or is it 5 bedrooms, right? I mean, there's opportunity to drill deeper in this, but I think this just gives you a quick graph of, whoa, the nights went up. Where's the supply at with it? Kind of get your supply and demand curve. So just wanted to share that quickly. Darson, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I was going to say,
questions?
yes. Yeah, so as I kind of go through this, I'm going to go start back at the very top, and let's go through each one and like really have a conversation about each one and how they matter, why they matter, what we're seeing our investors say, or what questions they're asking in our clients, potential clients. And then also, as we're doing this and you're listening on YouTube or you're listening on Facebook, post your question and we'll answer it. I want this to be, we both want this to be kind of a Q&A as well as us kind of going over this data. So please comment with your questions. And we're going to send out a follow-up email with to all of our investors and everyone on our list. So if you're not getting a follow-up email after this with this presentation, please let us know, and we can get you this report. If you email, here we go. There you go. There at the bottom of the screen. Send an email to us, and we'll get you on the list. So you're seeing everything that we're seeing for mainly property owners, also realtors. A lot of realtors utilize our service or just pay attention to what we're doing, because in the homeowner world right now, when houses are not selling as fast as they used to, homeowners are trying to decide, okay, do I just keep it as a rental? And if I do that, do I keep it as short term or long term? So with all that, let's go back to, I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to hide our,
It's funny. Producer Darson.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now.
So you couldn't hear me that whole time?
I know.
Okay, so I guess apparently when I take myself off stage, I can't even speak. So never mind, I won't do that. I was trying to get my ugly mug off there so we could actually see the report better. Anyway, what I was saying, what nobody heard, was in 2022 we had 2022 is when we started our business. In fall of 22 we went from 600 listings up to like 1200. If I remember correct, 500 up to 1200.
Yeah, like 500-600 up to
and that was to start 2023, correct?
Yeah, basically through the summer of
23.
Yeah, something like that.
Yep. So then we kind of dropped back down a little bit in 23, in 24, and now we're kind of back up to 1245. So our market has seen this number of listings before.
Yeah, in September of last year. So I gotta make sure I'm on the right data set. So last 30 days or last 365 days? We'll do last 365 days. Needs to load here a second. I can just find this real quick for us. Yeah. It's up about 100 units in the last 365 days since about a year ago.
Which isn't that crazy when we scroll back down to the report that said booking. Go back down to the booking supply and demand for the entire market. That's pretty good.
Correct.
Right? Like comparatively.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have had, total nights booked has went up I mean, we had just over 7,000, maybe just over 8, and we're
So,
a year ago, and now we're up close to 11 or 12.
Yeah, so there was 9,672 nights booked in 2023 on October,
Right.
and this
Yep.
October it's 1,200 or 12,000 nights. So 300 more nights were booked, and we really only went up 100 listings.
That's a net positive. I mean, depending on the nights booked and everything. So not doom and gloom by any means. And I look at like take a step back from the short-term rental market. When I see total nights booked up that high, like the percentage there, that's a pretty high percentage. That's a good thing for our Des Moines economy. That means people are coming here, people are liking it. The attraction of Des Moines is high, if you will. So I call it a good thing.
Cool.
Let's see here. RevPAR. This is like the first question investors or owners ask me when they're like, "Hey, should I go into short-term rental? What do you think my property will rent for per day?" And I kind of sit back and like, that logically is a great question, but the way that short-term world works, that's not a good question because it doesn't really matter. So can you drill deep into that, Cole?
So this is where I will say investors put on your P&L hats. Like this is a good place to do this because there's a lot of places in short-term rental that I say investors don't think like investors. You have to think differently like hospitality. Here is a good place to think about P&L like we would as investors. So average daily rate and your occupancy. And then on the back end, think of your cleaning charge too. So what is your net revenue of those three things? So you have a positive ADR. You have an ADR that gives you an occupancy. So what's your occupancy for the month times your average day, or your and then on the back end, what's your cleaning charge to that, right? So if you had a ADR or your daily rate is $170, but your cleaning charge is you're going to get charged by a cleaning company, or you're paying yourself to clean and it costs you $150. So you have a one night booking, you're positive $20. Is that good? I mean, your revenue looks good, but in your occupancy, if you're having good occupancy and turns is good, but you're also not making much because you have a cleaning charge there. So this is where this balancing act of you want the most average, or your highest average daily rate you can get with high occupancy. But if you're 100% occupancy, there's always this, could you have charged more? So I always go by the rule of thumb, man, I would really, really like to be 65 to 70% occupancy. Pressing the average daily rate number, trying to get the most I can. And then I don't want to turn it every 2 to 3 days. So that's where the booking days, I try to have an average booking of 3.5 for the month. So that really starts to look at 65 to 70% occupancy, and you push that. And then this gives you a number to, well, now I compare property to property. So am I doing good or bad with my average daily rate and occupancy, or do I need to have more occupancy and less average daily rate? Because this is your true comparison number from property to property. And honestly, like I have a 2-bedroom property that's doing $95 of RevPAR number. I'm actually truly beating a 3-bedroom on average. So I'm getting more revenue out of that. So you're allowing to compare true apples to apples. Now with bedroom count, you would assume your average daily rate would go up. Your occupancy could go down, but you're giving a number to compare off of, which is truly, truly driving a comparison that you can compare a 5-bedroom to a 1-bedroom. So does that kind of make sense?
Yeah,
Does that break it down?
It breaks it down well. I think everyone needs to hear that once or twice. It took me half a year to fully kind of get it, but I like it. It's like it's a comparison, and so as a potential owner trying to decide if you're going to take something from long term to short term, or just have a short term in general, that number, that calculation, in order to compare, is only one of the only ways to actually do a true comparison. Um, as a business owner.
So I see a question came in. How do you know if you should short-term rental it, mid-term rental it, or combination of both? This is the best question. This is a question that if you do have a short-term rental, like in the box, you see slow season is here. Like, how do you capitalize on growing your revenue? Like, and that is the question you go after, right? So from a graph standpoint, if I scroll down here, just using these, right? Where is your biggest book nights? There's massive amounts of demand? June, July, and August. Where is there low? December, January, and February. So like, I always use the term, and I steal it. I'm going to steal it because I'm not smart enough to think through this stuff, but I'm going to steal it from Bill Faith, who's got many SDRs, has a mastermind, got good stuff, posts a ton of free content. Good guy to go listen to. You want to be the last one booked in the summer, drive your average daily rate up when there's high demand. You want to be the first one booked in slow season, right? So that's where if you're struggling getting bookings now from a short-term rental standpoint, and you're not booked on certain pieces yet, maybe it's worth driving your revenues from an MTR. I will be the first to say, though, as so many people have got into STR and MTR, and they're trying to do bounce back and forth, right? Like, there are a ton, if you go on a Furnish Finder, ton of midterm rentals right now. And people are trying to get booked, and they're just driving down price because there's a lot of supply. I think Andy and I and the team kind of found this out as we kind of bounce back and forth in both the worlds, especially with some of our 1 and 2 bedroom units. Now our bigger houses, 4, 5s, and 6s, they stay short-term rental, and we push weekend rentals 3 to 4 nights. But it's totally off of how do you grow your revenue and what is satisfaction for what you're trying to do. Do you want to continue to flip it and have 2-week dead periods and have a higher average daily rate, or is it worth trying to just have constant revenue of an MTR for 2 to 4 months?
How different is it managing medium term versus short term? Like, how hard is it for our business to flip back and forth? And then, like, do you see owners struggling with that, or is it pretty easy?
It's hard to communicate to our owners because, so today we use HostAway as a booking platform because we have things on our direct booking website, Airbnb, midterm rental stuff, and then we have VRBO. So you have a lot of these different sites and slowly working towards Google, but you have all these different sites, right? And so we use a Guesty, we use HostAway. There's a Hopeful, there's a bunch of these different platforms that you can use to generate your single calendar that then exports to different places. It becomes hard to start to communicate because when you get an MTR, you're putting in and blocking the calendar from a note standpoint versus they see all these bookings, which they get excited about, right? That's good when we have bookings and calendars look full. And they're like, well, hey, why is this all blocked off? Well, it's good. We have a midterm rental. They get to see that stuff. So I would say at the end of the day, right, when we're just trying to balance and push revenues and actually net revenues, and looking at it that way of, hey, what are we paying our owner, and how does that translate to when we're paying them, and if we're struggling short-term rental, like we gotta, how do we grow revenue? There's different levers like MTR you can pull. Do we need to add amenities? Do we need to have specials? Do we need to push reviews and push bookings or favorites, stuff like that?
Cool. Let's see. Can you scroll down on that? I guess go back up to 2. One of the huge questions we have is it better to have a 1-bedroom, a 2-bedroom, a 3-bedroom, a 4-bedroom short-term rental property? What would be, if you had to pick your dream one for our business to run and an owner to own? Obviously price matters. Like I get that, but where's the gap in demand and supply?
It's a lot of supply around 2s and 1s. However, you're likely, there's a lot of like, depends on your, like those that are closer to downtown or where activities take place, right? Your 1s and 2s do well. However, if you have a 1 or 2 kind of in, I'm not gonna say in the middle of nowhere, northern Beaverdale side, right? I'll use that example, right? It's not going to do as well because that means they're likely looking for things to do. Versus if you have a larger unit, right? They're likely, a bunch of them are together doing games, or it's a family deal, or there's a reason they're in that area most of the time. So it's better versus a bigger place downtown. Works really well, but likely it's a group of people doing something downtown. That, so when I think through, obviously your math has to work, but like three bedrooms and up, you get a larger opportunity for diversity, right? You can hold a large family or 2 families together that are here, for example, a wrestling tournament at Wells Fargo, that are just trying to find a place to hang out for the weekend as they're going in and out of Wells Fargo for a wrestling tournament. You can find a concert, or they're having a family Thanksgiving 5 blocks up, right? You have that opportunity, or they're just looking for an extra space away. First, 1s and 2s, we see that our 1s and 2s have either they're here for 2 nights, maybe 3, or they're here for 14 nights, 16 nights, maybe a month, right? We don't see a lot of 1s and 2s that are here just a week here. They're not saying it's impossible, but like they're here either for work, or they're here for a longer time, or they're here, I'm just spending the weekend having some fun event and then I'm out of here. It's kind of what we see, and you have to be able to stand out to both from an amenity standpoint or what they're trying to do. I go back to, we as investors put on our thinking caps of how do we drive demand, or how do we drive revenue? This is a different way of getting more revenue. There's cheaper. I mean, we don't have long-term evictions. We don't have some of those things. There's some of those things you think about a long-term do, but like you forget about hospitality. Like that is, like short-term rentals is all about hospitality and experience, because like you can be wrecked by reviews and revenue, and you're relying on Airbnb solely at the beginning because you're trying to grow your platform to then get booked directly on the back end. So those things are super, super critical to that. And I don't know, Darson, I think this is a good discussion, because I know there's investors out there who have done this before, and quite frankly, we did it as well. Shame on us at times, but Airbnb really cracked down on deleting reviews. You used to secretly be able to delete reviews. There were people within the Airbnb organization you could pay to do that. We did it at times. I know tons of other people that used to do it. They've really cracked that down. So like you could get rid of all your 1 and 2 star reviews. Obviously a 4 star is not a bad rating, in my opinion. You don't like those. Threes is, hey, how do you get better? But then a lot of times ones and twos stars there's a major problem, or what does that mean? Do you need to fix something? Is there something major happening? So I dislike it to the fact of like a guest could lie and not be an expert, and it's so hard to get rid of that. Example, we had a guest stay and we had some beetles. They were not cockroaches, but she had thought in her head they're cockroaches. So she wrote that on our review. We had a pest company come, because obviously we as a company want to react to that, right? And do the best we can. We reacted, got a pest company there, and they're like, oh yeah, these are just little beetles. We'll do a spray quick. We'll bump your quarterly spray up. It'll be all good. Our guest on the back end wrote a nasty review about how we had cockroaches. This is the grossest thing. This thing's going to be closed down for a month. Do not stay here. Like, they're not an expert in pests, but we couldn't get it. We can't get that removed. However, in the past you could. So I honestly, Darson, this is the crazy piece of this. I really believe that the superhost status is going to become more and more difficult in the future, because so many guests were getting rid of reviews that were allowing them to stay up higher. From that standpoint, like
when you say get rid of reviews, you would just basically dispute it with Airbnb and they would take it off? Or are you saying like you pay the guy under the table to do it?
You pay a guy under the table to do it. And I believe it was happening so much. That's why Airbnb just basically was like, oh, we can't do this anymore. The integrity of our company and what we stand for just can't happen. So I really believe that like that's going to change the way. Now, I will be the first to say, if you are a single person managing it and you have one cleaning company and you're walking it quite a bit and you're in the property, like you will do better than a larger place. Like, I mean, you go and look at the data of like some of the best managers in the Carolina seaboard side or from North and South Carolina, like their average is super host status 4.81, 4.85. I mean, there's some 4.79s in there, right? Like those are good ratings. I think people are like so tuned into like, I have to have 5-star, I have to have 5-star, I have to have. Well, the reality is you want a good experience and a good property, and replying to reviews is probably more beneficial, explaining what happened and saying, hey, we messed up, we did this, we got to do this again in the future. I think that's good stuff, being honest.
I mean, I've always been a huge fan of like, I'm totally, as long as everybody's on the same playing field, that's actually better for the businesses that are like legit and the platform in general. So it sucks when it's not a level playing field, but it sounds like they are leveling that out. And we know in Des Moines, there's some terrible owners that like, there's a reason they have low ratings and have struggled for clients. Next, booking window. Do you see this changing? I know it's a big change. Do you see it flipping back when we get out of the winter market?
Yeah, I really see it start to change. With us being in it 2 years now and looking at it, I don't know, 3 years ago too, and kind of being in the data for a while, it ebbs and flows. So right now it's shorter. February, March, it starts to grow, right? I mean, you think of like your days around State Fair, 4th of July, big events in the middle of July on weekends, the X Games skate park deal, right? Like those are like big events, and people start like, oh, I'm coming to this in March because this is the weekend. I'm going to start looking at Airbnbs and booking. Like that, it starts to grow that time. So thinking ahead, that's where I go back to first one booked in the slow season, last one booked, because now there's more people that are inevitably in this. There's always, if your average booking window is 14 days, there's people after that, and there's people before that. So when there's not as much demand, right, and you're after that, what is prices likely doing? It's going down. However, if there's a lot of demand and you're after that, what are prices doing? They're likely going up. So where are you catching them at, and how are you driving your total revenue, net revenue at the end of it. So that's kind of where I look at the booking windows. Where is your booking window in comparison to that? So right now, I want mine to be greater than 14 days. Like I love that, because that means I'm being booked first from a property standpoint. But in the summer, I want to be after that. I want to be after that booking window, because I'm getting a better price, because my price is likely getting caught as it's going up. As more.
How much hands-on is that for you versus the software that you guys pay for, we pay for?
You obviously have to adjust and change, right? Your minimum night stays, where your minimum night stays look at, how much your price increases are out, right? Like there's things you have to do and things and triggers you pull that you can do. But there's also, like right now for State Fair, if you're gonna just have it out there and you're gonna be $150 and not use the software night, but you're a 4-bedroom place, yeah, you're gonna get booked right now. But I'm gonna tell you right now, I have my minimum night stay for State Fair right now, and all of our big properties is like 700 on the minimum side, but most of them are sitting at like $1,000 a night. I don't want to be booked, but if someone books it, I know that's way better than I would have got come the back end of when we get there. So that's where people really like our properties, or they're restaying again. They're paying a premium to do that. But that's ultimately you're driving your P&L and revenue at the end of the day. Make sense? So it's hands-on, but you got to trust the software. Price Labs, that's who we use. There's Wheelhouse. There's other ones out there. I trust Price Labs.
We had a question come in, investors, what or just people that are owners, what should you think about when you think about furnishings for a short-term rental, or best amenities? What's missing? Where's the gap? What's the easy cost to throw something in there that attracts bookings?
So obviously, good beds, good pillows. Like, don't have to buy a perfect mattress, but buying a mattress pad, critical. TVs in rooms are good amenities, not in every room, but in like a master or that. We found the Roku smart TVs and putting them in guest mode is phenomenal. Don't buy the Netflix, don't buy the Hulu, don't buy the Disney Plus. They all have it. Make them use their own. Just allow it to automatically log them out in guest mode. That's a great little thing. Being able to, like, so a 3-bedroom, you'd assume I only hold 6, maybe 7 people. If you can take a 3-bedroom and somehow put bunk beds in it and grow your people count in that, you can get a better price for a 3-bedroom versus someone else that only has a queen bed in there. Now, who are you going after is a thing, but also, right, you're marketing to yourself. So sometimes amenities are your marketables, and sometimes there's just wow factor of marketables. People don't go past the first and second page to book. So if you're on the first and second page in a slow season, you're going to get booked. If you're on the 10th page, right, people aren't going to click that far to get there. Well, you want people to, like, that's a cool property, that's a sweet picture, click on it, because that drives you in the algorithm, right? So I think of the wow factor for amenities is a big marketing piece, but then you look at things like bikes are cool. Do you have an arcade game, pool games? Is there a hot tub? Like, those are some bigger ones that, like, people like to have that opportunity. But I mean, standardization of, you have to have good pots and pans, or plenty of pots and pans, plenty of plates. Dining tables are optionals, but if you have one, please show it, and have a table set with it showing that, hey, we hold 8 people at this dining room table for our guest house of 12, this, that, or other. And then furnishing, right? There's places to go cheap, but then, like, couches or things that people use from a comfort standpoint, people go cheap on that stuff, right? But I mean, like floating nightstands and floating lights, and I mean, this is from history, right? Those things break easy. So, like, you need to think it's still a rental in your head, but it's got to look pretty and nice and put together. It's because you're marketing it just as much as someone is staying there as well. But one of the amenities I have seen up and coming lately is an office, a desk with a docking station and an office chair, right? Like, I would say the more people working, or the more like, oh, I can work from home on a Friday, I'm going to go to Des Moines for the weekend and I'm going to stay Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and I'm going to go home Sunday. Well, now they're like, I'll just work from my place, and having that docking station or something, that's just an easy opportunity and you can go buy a nice desk and chair off of Marketplace and pick up a single screen pretty cheap. So I like that one.
Cool. Those are the main questions I had. Anything else you want to touch on, Cole?
I mean, it sounds so simple. I'll just bring it up here a second. But like being in incognito mode right now because I can, but like I just am flexible winter weekend. Like, these are some of the best properties that are showing up. And like, if you want to do a comparison, go look. Like, what do they have that I don't? Why are they doing why are they booking and I'm not? And I mean, you can see not all these are perfect 5-star places. Right, but they're on the second page, and right now I see a big one is, hey, free cancellation. Okay, like, what do you give up when you do that, right? How are you, like, what is it beneficial to you or not? So I mean, don't be afraid to go do and compare to yourself and see where you're at. In a way, that's one of the things I think people look past. Is it's pretty easy to do. And if you want to put a guest count and say, hey, we only have 4 people, we want to stay close. Like, my property is right. I mean, you can see my mouse. My property is right over here. Well, who am I competing against? Well, these are the guys. These are the places. And they're showing they got a poker table and a hockey, air hockey table, right? That's a sweet amenity. They have look at that big TV, sweet amenity. If I was 4 of us, 5 of us, and we were trying to do that, like, that's a cool place to stay. So I don't overlook that portion of it when you're doing it and comparing and trying to find, hey, why am I not booking?
Cool. Yeah, that comparison, like, it just reminds me of the realtor world of, like, you're always looking at the competition to see what it sells for, what it should sell for, what your listing should be listed at. So same thing in the short-term rental business. It's not rocket science, but it's paying attention a lot. Man, I'm really not that impressed with any of these photos, Cole. Like,
no, like, people are driving off of their historically good.
Interesting. There it is. There it was. The Pink Pillow Palace. That's what I'm going to call it. Cool. I don't have anything else, man. We'll get this out to everybody, uploaded onto YouTube. And again, as we wrap this up, if you have any questions, you don't have to hire us to get questions answered. We're kind of an open book. We like to help other people in Des Moines just make better short-term rental business decisions. Anything to add, Cole? You good?
Nope. Just here if you guys have questions. Love to answer, chat, do whatever we can. Like, that's what we're here for. Inform. If you need someone, like Darson said, we'd love to, but also if you just want to spitball and say, hey, can I help? How do you help my property get better? And we're just as much open for conversations like that too.
Yep. Cool. See you, everybody. Bye.